right, everybody, we're back with a brand new Cabral Concept, brand new week here on the show. Can't wait to kick this off with a Mindset and Motivation Monday. Today's topic is going to be the 5 factors to follow to become mentally strong. Now, most likely listen to this show as a listener, you're already getting there or you're already there. But that doesn't mean that each one of us can't take our own mental strength, just like our physical strength, to that next level. These 5 factors that I'm going to share with you right now are things that I try to use in my daily life. Now, do you have to be perfect? No, but I'm going to say that I've gotten better at each one of these over the years. And having done that, it's made me a lot more resistant to stress. And I know that I need it, as well as a whole lot happier. And I hope that they do the same for you. So let's dive right into the show right now. The first one is this, is that people that become mentally strong or are mentally strong, they embrace change. This has to be one of the hardest things for humans. Now, the problem is, and you've most likely read about this in your spiritual-based studies or relationship studies or health studies, whatever it might be, is that the world is always in flux. The world is always changing. That's literally one of the paradigms. That is one of our truths that we all must live with. And the hard thing is that so many of us don't want things to change. They want things to always remain the same when they're in their safe space, their comfort zone. They don't want anything to fall outside of that. The problem is that that is not realistic. Now, the nice thing is this, is that when you embrace change, you understand that some doors will close, but others inevitably and always open. And if you have new doors and new opportunities opening, well, that can be an even more exciting future. So we'll talk more about that one, but it leads me into number 2 very, very nicely. And that's mentally strong people. Mentally strong people. And again, you'll be better at some of these than others. They are able to move on quickly from their mistakes and the mistakes of others. I want to share with you a little bit more about this. So think about this, is that, you're in a relationship or you're working with your coworkers or you have kids, and let's just say the other person messes up, right? They don't do what you asked them to, that you requested, that you pleaded, that you just were looking for them to do. These are the things that help me in my daily life, make me happy, et cetera, and someone else messes up. Well, here's the thing. You could dwell on it. You could start a big argument. And, sometimes you do need to speak up. There's no doubt about that. But the truth is that it's highly unlikely that you exploding every single time or every single day someone messes up is going to make you a whole lot happier in your own life. It's just not, right? So here's what mentally strong people do. They say, I got it. You're human. I'm human. We all make mistakes. Going forward, what do you think about trying to do X, Y, and Z? So like there's an actual plan in place so that we can just try to learn from our mistakes. It is so much more productive, so much better than just kind of always flying off the handle, as they say. But that includes your own mistakes. You need to move on quickly past your own shortcomings. They happen. So let's just say you do explode on a coworker, your child, your spouse, a parent, a sibling, a friend, whoever it might be. The best thing that I've ever found is that you just say, you know what? That's on me. That's my bad. I apologize. I'm going to try not to let that happen again. I am human myself. These things do happen, but you know what? You caught me in a bad day. That was not the best of me. I want to apologize for that, and I want to own it, and it's just the way that it is, and then move on. Again, you're human as well. And so whether you did it to someone else or yourself, let's just say you missed the entire week of the gym. Okay. Is that a big deal? Not really. But if you start to miss 1 week every month, every couple months, yeah, it ends up being a big deal. You take a week off once a quarter. No, you're going to be just fine, right? You'll be just fine. But you also just have to just say, it happened. You caught a virus. You had to travel that week, like whatever it might be. Okay. Can't let it happen often, but at some times you need to say, here's what I'm going to do. And so for me, I let myself off the hook. I let others off the hook, as long as we just have a new plan. Okay, I missed this week at the gym. All right, understood. I'm not going to try to get it all back in one workout, but what's next week look like? Let's plan it out. Let's double down. Let's see where we need to be. And again, same for team members as well. So I think that's the most fair way of doing it is just saying, I'm not going to forget like it ever happened. All I'm going to do is just say, well, I need a plan so that it doesn't happen again. Or if it's just an every once in a while thing, you just let it go. Let it go. You haven't missed a week at the gym in 6 months, just let it go. It's all good. I mean, literally, maybe your body needed the rest. That's one way to look at it. That's how I look at it. Good. You're all set. You're good to go. All right, number 3 is this. How are mentally strong people able to do the first two, right? How are they able to embrace change? How are they able to move on quickly? Well, it really has to do with this third one, and that's they are able to control their emotional state. This might be the hardest for all of us because, again, we are human. We are flawed in our own ways. And so, if you're like me and you are, again, I don't know all these things to be true or not, but I'm firstborn. I'm an Aries. I have a Pitta-based mindset from, Ayurvedic-based medicine. I produce a lot of dopamine. I produce a lot of norepinephrine. I have a COMT-based gene mutation, which means I'm not even able to get those out of my body as easily. So it's like, okay, I run hot. That's just the way that it is. I'm fiery but I channel it in the right ways. I really try to. I try to channel that into as much as I can in podcasts and in writing and motivation and driving, my teams forward, all the things that you can channel it in a good way, just using your genetics in that way. So that's kind of how I look at it. It's how I do my best. But again, I have my shortcomings as well. These things do happen. Here's the nice thing though, is that can't be perfect, but 90% of the time, got to be able to control the highs and the lows. So sure, I love to ride the highs, but I don't get overly high. I really don't. I just do not let the great things run away. I just try to bring someone in on that. Hey, great work. Or, I say hey, we're doing great, or I talk to my family, my daughters, hey, this has been a really fun week, on vacation, whatever it might be. Bring others in. That's a nice way to do it at the most positive way. But then the lows the same way, embrace change, move on quickly. Those are the lows a lot of the time. And so I have those. I tell my daughters, actually shared them not too long ago, about once a month, twice a month, I have a stressful day, a hard day. A lot of what I do work-wise is not necessarily easy, trying to help 100,000, 250,000 people a year, with all of their lab results, making sure it gets the lab right on time, that there's enough of a sample, that there's, there's a lot going on. And so, sometimes we've got a lot of partners, then there's some issues that we want to help them resolve. They want to help us resolve, et cetera. Okay, no big deal. We're going to figure it out. So I don't get too low in that. But whenever you have one of those hard days, I just told my daughters this again, not too long ago. I said, when you have a hard day, remember, it's just one day. That's it. Get a good night's sleep. Go to bed early. You're not going to be able to solve everything that night. And you also don't want to respond in a way that's inappropriate or it's not going to be helpful in the future. Go to bed early. Tomorrow's a new day. When you wake up, you'll have a new perspective. I can't tell you the last time that wasn't true. Meaning stressful day, it hasn't maybe gone away the next day, but you just look at it totally different. A good night's sleep changes a lot. All right. So control your emotional state, not too high, not too low. Enjoy life. That's for sure. But also stressful day, get to bed early. You've got tomorrow, right? There's always tomorrow. Okay. The fourth one is this. I love this one, kind of switching gears here. Take calculated risks. All of the most successful people that I know in all areas of life. Again, take the whole financial thing out of that. I mean, I think that you need to, again, have enough abundance in finances that you can give yourself options and your family options and enjoy life to whatever you want to enjoy. That's great. But that can't be the cornerstone of your life. It can't be. You lose life just chasing after, more and more money, finances, etc. But you still have the relationships, the spirituality, your career, however you want to look at that. You've got your health, you've got your body transformation. There's a lot of things that you want to look at to be a whole person. So the thing is, though, the most successful people in every single one of those areas take calculated risks. They don't take dangerous risks, but they do things to put them in a position to succeed at a greater level. That's the best way that I can put it, right? So it's okay, let's say that you really want to lose that last 10 pounds. And you know what? You've been 15 to 20 pounds overweight. You've gotten to 10 pounds within your ideal range, but you really want to lose 10 more and you haven't been able to do it forever. All right, well, what are some calculated risks? What are some things that you could do that they might not pan out? You might lose a little bit, but if it works, if it succeeds, wow, you finally reached that goal. Losing the last 10 pounds. Work with a expert personal trainer, nutritionist, health coach, integrative health practitioner, someone that has already been there, done that with hundreds to potentially thousands of other clients, right? So it's like, yeah, you need to invest the money. There's no doubt about that. But that could be the answer. Like, oh, we're going to run a stress hormone metabolism test. Oh, did you know that you have low vitamin D? You thought you got enough sun, but you're at a 33, right? Did you know that your evening cortisol is elevated? Did you know that your thyroid isn't hypothyroidism? Like you're not above a 5 for a TSH, but you're a 3.3. That's not optimal, right? Like they'll be able to tweak those things. Or I'm going to look at all your macros for the day. Did you know that 65% of all of your calories are at dinner? After they calculate your macros. So again, I'm just giving you examples, but a really good integrative health practitioner or coach or personal trainer is going to be able to find those things for you. That's why they're worth the investment. Now, you might choose one that wasn't the right one. It doesn't mean all aren't the right one, but like that's the calculated risk. And there are obviously many other risks, right? Associated with finding the right person for you or spirituality or like any of those things. There are calculated risks you take, but what you try to do is you try to lay out 3 different options. I'll be talking about that more on next Monday show, so definitely tune in to next Monday. And then based on those, you say, okay, which is the most likely to succeed? And then you go with that one. All right, so that was number 4. The 5th one is this: mentally strong people are always seeking knowledge and growth. So maybe that one seems obvious, but I don't think that it is, because it is the one that sometimes becomes the most challenging after you're already successful. So when a lot of people are successful, they become complacent. They become complacent in their relationship, in their spirituality, in their work, in their body, and in their health, because they've reached a certain level and they're no longer striving. The problem is, and you can kind of see this in all different facets, when you stop striving, you get past. It's just the way that it is. And past in life means that you fall behind. You lose your edge. So my big thing is that you always need to be setting specific goals for yourself. Again, look at the 12-month year. I'll try to link that one up here today, episode 3461. And then you break that down into quarters. And you don't want to create crazy goals. You want to create goals that are just a little bit of a stretch, or create a goal that you know that not that you know that you're going to hit, that you will hit if you put in the work. Right? That's good. That's success. But then you create a little stretch goal that moves you beyond what you might or thought you'd be able to achieve. And you need to do just a little bit more in order to be able to stretch and hit that next goal. But here's the nice thing. When you set goals like that, you need to learn more. You need to take some calculated risks in order to get to that next level. That striving is so much what I've seen in my practice that leads to happiness, because growth almost in all aspects of your life leads to happiness, because you are a human being at that point. You're not just playing it safe. You're not playing the prevent defense in football, right? You're not playing to lose. You're playing to win. You're moving forward, and all the amazing people you meet along the way and all the new knowledge you gain is exciting. And that's what makes life worth living. It's what makes life worth getting up early every single morning and excited to get after the day. So hopefully these 5 factors to follow to become mentally strong was helpful. As always, if the show was helpful, do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, buddy. Have an amazing rest of the day. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.